blocked it.
It was
He's
a
gonna
fake.
get the full
Oh,
punish.
he's gonna air it out on him.
Oh.
He read that and he takes the meter as well.
Yeah,
Alex
he
5-8.
takes the
Give him
meter.
a hand. Give him another hand.
Oh! Alex Meyer grabbing him with the Ultra 2.
Oh, my.
Is this not going to be enough quite yet? But he's right there. What's the follow-up? And he just overheads him. Alex Meyer.
The last video we did on Taker was quite fun, and it made me step out my comfort zone, and it made me appreciate another grappler within the genre. And I quite like that about this series, is I either discover or reintroduce what was fun for me as a grappler player. So for today's video, I want to cover a grappler that got me into playing 2D grapplers. What's up fellas, Patriarch Panda here, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video with a like and sub. And if you want to support me, check out the kofi, as I'm using this to try and fund some of my offline trips. But the reason why I want to cover this grappler is very important, right? Not only is he the first 2D grappler that pulled me into the genre, but he does like what every other grappler does in the series, which is break away from the usual mold. He doesn't play into the stereotype of the big grappler also needing armor and everything. And I think it's time we get into the grappler who got me into the 2D genre. But before that, I must talk about the game and how it functions. And all I'm gonna say is, victory at any cost. Fight on! Killer instinct!
Counterbreaker!
Next touch will do it.
Oh my god! Justin Wong goes right! Counterbreaker! Combo breaker! Counterbreaker!
Game is by far one of the coolest fighting games that was severely held back by the console it was held on. Who was buying an Xbox in 2013? No one, and that's including myself. I got the Xbox and I regretted it. Besides that, this game was awesome. It genuinely had absolutely everything that you'd want in a fighting game. It had some of the best OSTs that you've ever heard from a fighting game. It had rollback netcode, a training mirror system where you can find AI that adapts over time. That's right, Tekken and all that. Step aside, Killer Instinct did it first. A full-fledged training mode, which is 100 times better than a lot of the modern ones that you see in like Strive and that. This one had a proper training mode that showed you hitboxes and that. Customization for every character, including colors, cosmetics, you name it. And character variety that honestly rivals Strive with how diverse the roster is in terms of gameplay. And the game had some very fun cameos as well if you're an Xbox kid growing up, like General Ram, Rash, or the Arbiter. Game systems were sick, and that's the main thing that I'm looking forward to getting into, is like, god damn, the game was sick, never mind playing the characters. It was probably the most interactive fighting game ever, and the announcer, the hype man commentator, made this very well known to you when playing the game. The game told you its mechanics right away. Combo breakers could be done to break a combo by pressing any two buttons to match the button that they pressed. So for example, if they pressed a medium connector or a medium link, you press your both medium buttons together, like medium punch and kick together, and that'll allow you to break it. So you did the strength to match the strength. If they did a light connector, you did light. You did heavy, you did heavy. And that allowed you to break out of combos, and it didn't use any resources. It was all a free guess 24/7. If you were wrong, you were stuck in a combo, and they would call it blockout, basically meaning, uh-oh, Stinky, you didn't guess right, so you had to hold the rest of the combo for a good duration. You could do if you did heavies that would catch the opponent off guard every time, and it was so goddamn saucy. And that was the counter breaker. A counter breaker is where you drop your combo on purpose to be punishable, like a DP punish. You can beat the hell out of this guy to counter a combo breaker. And it is so sick because the game will shout it out, freeze in, and zoom in on your character screaming counter breaker, and you got to do whatever combo you wanted for a good chunk of time. It would also reset the combo gauge, so if you were in a 30 hit combo where the gauge was about to run out, it would start all the way back to 0 and let you cash out even more. The most rawest thing I've seen in a fighting game, to drop your combo on purpose And that is what this game was about. It was hype moments and aura, but with execution. The game also had a shadow mirror. This effectively acted like your supers, except your supers were extremely enhanced versions of your specials. They were super needed. For characters like Jago, this was a good way to cash out when you were in your instinct to heal. Now, speaking about instincts, this was the cool mechanic of the game. Every character had an install, allowing them to power up to their maximum and play to their character's gimmick to full power. Build meter like a madman, kind of like Fulgor here, who has a weird meter system. Some would heal off fireballs, like Jago mentioned before. This was a big thing for him, as that allowed him to stay in the fight for longer. Or one could resurrect themselves upon death, screaming, "I'm not done yet," as he punches the ground, slamming back the enemy. And I have to admit, this was my main when I first started the game. TJ Combo is the most unrivaled hype man I've ever played in my life. Round system is also sick. The health bar is what would carry over. Basically, if you knocked someone out and won that round, they would go into their second health bar and you would stay on your first health bar with the green. If you won with this green, the game would also give you a different victory called the Supreme Victory. It meant that you didn't give up much, and the only difference with having your health bar being in the green compared to red was none. It was a flex. It showed that you didn't die, you didn't get hit much. And this was actually a cool way to make it so games didn't feel as long as with other fighting games. When you win the round, both of you reset back to your first health bar. So this was a very unique mechanic that kind of punished people for losing a round, but at the end of the day, if you knock them off their first health bar, they move right straight down to their second one. The one thing, if you want to do the ultimate finish, you had to be in the green health bar. And if you got to that, you got to do a super specific finisher to kill your opponent. And some of these range from pretty cool to, oh my god, look at those animations. They're so beautiful, they're so cool. And they had a ton of variants to them, but unfortunately not every character got an ultimate, sad as it is to say. One thing that you can do to disrespect the hell out of your opponent was the ultras. If you landed a combo and the opponent was in this health bar, you could end the round right there and then by doing an ultra and stopping. However, big however, you could let the ultra rock and try to do a pickup again, let the ultra rock, try to do a pickup again, let the ultra rock. You can make your opponent sit there for 1 minute and 40 seconds watching a 200 hit combo. This game is awesome. They stuck with the mentality the Mortal Kombat devs did, which was if you want to disrespect upon someone, instead of having a dizzy mid-game like Street Fighter does, in this game they decided to give you the dizzy after you won the game, which again, fun design. There's a reason why we like fatalities, there's a reason why we like the ultra combo system. And that's Killer Instinct. This game has so much content potential and energy and hype. It's genuinely the coolest game ever in terms of just that raw hype energy, and there was a ton of interactivity. Potential to make the comeback, but it's time to get right into the main man that I wanted to cover for today. The Tribal Warrior, Hinamatu. The Tribal Chief, Thunder. Thunder is the main grappler of the game. As you'd expect from his tall stature at 6'4", Thunder is one of the good guys. He's after the people that murdered his brother, Eagle. This man respects tradition and loyalty to those important to him, and he is extremely honourable, tending to say "Kachi-yo-yo" after a fight, meaning thank you for the battle, as a loose translation. His retro look gave him more of a biker look. They respect this as the costume was added to the game for players to unlock or purchase, but they never had the original design that was in the first Killer Instinct due to its appearance appearing very stereotypical to the tribal Native American. With his more modern look, they decided to design him off of an actual type of tribe. His pairs, hope I said that right, with his 2013 appearance. Customizations to make it look even more like that tribe. Also, his theme is the best one in the game. You should be listening to it right now, and the aura of it is too clean. It is so good, it's even listed as a positive about Thunder and Killer Instinct. You've gotta love it. So the story, what is every character without their story, their backstory? It's worth learning, let's talk about it. Thunder entered this deadly tournament to figure out who killed his brother Eagle. He was content to walk the path of avenging him, but he knew that he would only get answers or death. After beating his story, you find out Eagle wasn't killed, but was used to create Fulgor, the ultimate fighting machine. The same machine was also used to kind of promote the Ultratech company as the ultimate fighter. So it's a pretty strong killing machine, Killer Instinct, but built by an evil corporation using Eagle as kind of a base for it. Cool addition to the game, Eagle was added later on for DLC, and it was kind of cool to see him have a physical playable model that he plays very different from Thunder, being a set play zoner with his arrows and his little hawk thing. Again, I think it's a pretty neat interaction, but I kind of wish that they had more time to write a story, because at this point of the game, they were kind of finishing production, and the last 3 characters were kind of copies of characters, but with unique twists and turns. So it's a bit sad that Eagle, again, his first like thing in the game, didn't have any story relevance. Fun fact about Thunder: crows tend to follow him wherever he goes, and being a big part of his toolkit, the crows tend to be a harbinger of good luck as a spirit animal and a spirit guide to Thunder. And the crow usually symbolizes good luck to a lot of the native storytellings. This was a nice detail. Try to be really accurate to the tribe of the Nez Hope I said that right again, when trying to implement Thunder. So I thought this was a very nice detail in terms of the character design and lore. But before we went into what molded them into being a very cool grappler in terms of being a reset monster, we gotta talk about the negatives, and don't worry about it. In this case, the negatives are very short. That's why I'm talking about them immediately. His Killer Instinct was one of those games where you could genuinely play anyone and cook. The main one was that he was big and slow. This is a classic for every grappler. I'm gonna list it for every grappler, and you should know that this is a big weakness that holds back every grappler. It's a challenge that we take on when playing grapplers. His normals were also slow, so it was difficult to use a lot of them in neutral. In terms of neutral, he didn't really have much until he popped Instinct, which we will get into, do not worry about that. One of the big issues is whenever you take a combo breaker, is that it sends you far. Now, as someone who's played grapplers, you might understand the issue with that, which is you're back to your dog shit abysmal neutral, meaning you have to approach again. And this was a problem for Thunder, as it meant that he had to work in neutral again. So when you landed a combo, despite the fact that Thunder had a lot of ways to make it very difficult for the opponent to combo breaker with resets and command grab opportunities, you had to be so careful, because if he did get combo breakered, you're back to square one. Believe it or not, that's all of his weaknesses. That's it, we're done. Those 3 things did hold him back, but not to the extent that it would hold back some other grapplers. Tons of strengths to kind of counterbalance the badness that he had. Let's get into what made him sick. His mix and potential. He was insanely good with it. He had a normal throw that sideswapped, command grabs for catching tech, so if you wanted to try tech a throw, this would hit you, and a fast low for checking the shins, and an overhead for getting combos started. He also had ways to cross up the opponent. The character genuinely had a complete offensive toolset, and that's not common for grapplers. You guys have to think about that. You look at Zangief, he does have a low, and he does have an overhead, but he doesn't usually have it in a way that sets up for the command grab afterwards. To combos, Killer Instinct had a very cool system, being the starter, the links, the connectors, and the finishers. When it came to finishers, Thunder had one of the best ones, being this one, called the Thunder Finish. This is his command grab, but used as a finisher, does an insane amount of damage, has a cool camera angle, and gives you insane Oki to work with. So you cannot break finishers. Yes, that's right. So that factor being involved, sometimes Thunders would end a combo quickly just to set up Oki. You have 4 finishers, and this is classic for Killer Instinct. You have one that wall splats, one that builds meter, one that does a ton of damage in Oki, and then the other one being a reset tool that you could potentially get another combo from. There are some of the biggest damage in the game, and then when you combine that with resets, which means that this white part of your health is getting ready to cash out, he could delete your health and he can do it with ease. His Shadow Supers made this insanely easy, as some of them, like this one, gave him a whip punish tool that was an insane damage starting combo, and then he had some other ones that were crazy, but there's a lot there, trust me. So that was just like a quick synopsis of his offense. I want to get more in depth about that later, but we need to kind of set up the tools of what he had to talk about how crazy they really were. And the next thing we've got to talk about, and this is the cool part, was his Call of the Sky. This tool was so cool because Thunder would stare up at the sky, shouting towards his gods to grant him power, to which they strike him with lightning, giving him access to this. This forward dash was absurdly strong. We're talking almost busted, as it allowed him to pass through projectiles, pokes, and players. You could also use this to retreat if you needed iframes. The cool part about this was the fact that it allowed him to pass through players. This was very powerful, as it allowed him to use it mid-combo to change positioning and to mess with combo break opportunities. So the activation on this tool deletes projectiles. So how cool does that look, where he stands there and screams and a fireball's heading his way and it just goes PAH! Dragon Ball scene where they power up and they deflect the projectile just by powering up. It looks so cool. The main element that I think separates him from every other grappler is, instead of using armor or walling down the opponent to get in, he could set up tools that allow him to effectively play up neutral, like Call of the Sky and Ankle Slicer, as it allows him to move forward without too much of a hassle. Sure, he can still get hit at the end of the day if he places it badly, but it gives him another avenue of approach besides being an armor meathead or just plain wall. That's a ton of depth. You have to place this well. Armor, you can place it somewhat well and not give a damn. This, you have to place it insanely well, because if you place it wrong, you get punished. The cool thing, this is the insanely cool thing. That tool that you used is your instinct. That is correct. When Thunder activates his instinct, until the remainder of that bar, all your forward and back dashes have this property of having iframes and being able to move through your opponent and go through projectiles, so you can link them. You can move. You have movement for days. They can't get you. You're quick as hell. And you can teleport behind them for a command grab, teleport in front of them for a super command grab. You can play the positioning, try to get combos. You can mess with the opponent trying to hit you. This is Ultra Instinct as a grappler.
I see everything.
The saucy install known to man, besides Iron Tiger. No disrespect, King. It's time to get into his next strength, and this one's a little funny. I respect it, and that is, they have it on the super combo dust loop, right? This is funny as hell. He has the coolest theme in the game, so much so they say this is a strength. And this is hilarious. If you need a song for hype moments in Aura, I'm telling you, Hinwatun is such a banger, and of course it's named after Thunder. That's Thunder's real name right there. Has nasty reset tools. This is what made him the mixed monster that he is. Talking about the first strengths, you know, all those tools I listed, this is how they function. He has stagger tools, like a lot of his normals, you can kind of stagger from up close. And he has this tool, the triple axe, which is a multi-swinging attack, where if you pick different versions, it can make it hard for the opponent to guess when to get out, because the light ends quicker and the heavy goes on. That's right, there's a multi-layered offensive tool with this triple axe. His low was also safe on block and the combo starter, and it covers a good bit of screen. Ankle Slicer was a nutty tool when used up against the corner. He also has an overhead that allows him to do resets. If he is in the middle of a combo, he can drop the combo on purpose to reset with this overhead, which allows him to reset the combo for a ton of damage. This is an insane tool, as it allows them to link into triple axe and get the combo started. You can combo break the overhead and all that stuff afterwards, but you had to guess, and that meant forcing yourself to be put into a block out, where if you didn't block during the reset and you try to do a combo breaker, you're taking a combo. So this character was scary because you could do meaty overhead into Ankle Slicer. So you had overhead into low, you had low into potential setup, so you could go into overhead again for install. So this character had genuine high lows that were scary to deal with, and because of the reach of them and the damage, every play was terrifying. And at the end of the day, he was sitting on a command grab, and the command grab, as we saw, looked sick as hell. That's a scary command grab, because the Oki afterwards lets him do what he wants. He can go left, right, or set up a safe jump. And the main thing that made him sick was this back throw. You have to combo break this back throw by pressing light punch and light kick together. But this was another factor that you had to think about. This throw allowed him to set up positioning and keep you on your toes for your combo breakers. So that was another factor you had to deal with, is the fact that he could do this. And after doing the back throw, you think, oh, you might continue your combo, he could drop it on purpose to do an overhead or command grab to reset the damage. This is why he's scary. That's back throw. Is everything that makes this character scary, because once you see this, you realize it's 50-50 or lose your health. Also, he can go straight into his command grab for a knockdown reset. Like, if you decide to reset and you decide to block the overhead, you could just do command grab and he would put you in the ass, snapping your neck. He will open you up. The only question was when. Being the king of mental stack was sick and all, but at the end of the day you've got to have defense to back that up, and this character certainly had it. Has a plethora of options. He has a DP, which isn't actually DP, doesn't have iframes, but has iframes to projectiles, meaning he can approach forward and potentially have the startup of a set play projectile. And he can come down with 3 options. 1, kinda acting like his light jumping. Number 2, kinda acting like a hard knockdown aerial normal that knocks them down on their ass. And the heavy version acting like a juggle state that actually gives you a combo and can set up for a cheeky counter breaker if you think your opponent's going to be predictable on that combo breaker. Body involved, so if you want to punch him, he can duck you. He also had the best shadow super in the game, being Call of the Earth, which is based off his command grab, except the shadow version was a frame 0 super. Frame 0, I mean, it comes out instantly. Look at the reach. This is absurd reach. There's nothing that reaches this far. The thing that makes it insane is that you could do install into this, so if someone wants to hit you during instinct, would you believe it, that's a free grab opportunity. And the other cool thing about it is that you can use it after your instinct to dash up and command grab people. So not only was this great on defense, this was amazing on offense, and you get a combo afterwards. You get a full pickup, and you can even set up for OK if you want to. You don't have to do the pickup. This is so cool. No other grappler gets this. No other grappler just gets a free combo super that reaches damn far and has iframes. The animation, bro. He is slamming. He is slamming the hell out of you. The DP super, which was great for gaps or trying to deal with mash outs or waking up. So he did have that available. Overall, an amazing toolkit. When it came to tier placements, this character is always considered pretty strong. When it came to recent footage, I couldn't find any of them in tournaments, so I think there may have been a drop after some potential nerfs with the reworks they did about like half a year ago. But I couldn't find anything as of recent. I really couldn't. I tried very hard, and if you guys find anything, be sure to let me know. But to talk about history, who are the people that made them work?
Tell him, ooh, I like that how we got out of there. Nice block. You can only block for so long. You can only block for so long. Wow. Get hit by him. You'll notice that Thunder hasn't lost a lot of life because these things don't do a lot. Rico just wants to sit on full pitch right now. Counterbreaker! This might be it. Hang on in. Nope. Yes. No. Stop is going to do it. Counterbreaker! No need to break that. There's no need. Gets the power up. Counterbreaker!
Say it here, man, the players are absolute masterclass to watch. Gutter and Hologram and Bach are very fun players to watch. There's also many other funders out there, but there's not many tournament footage as this game was mostly played in ranked and more casually. There wasn't really a lot of people playing this in tournaments. Don't get me wrong, there were tournaments, there were grand tournaments even, but not to the extent that you have with Strive, where you have an online every goddamn day. So it's quite sad that we don't have any modern tournament footage, but besides that, you've got a lot right there. Like, jeez Louise, there's a ton of footage. This grappler was sick because of his movement. There's no other grappler that has movement like this, unless it's one of those like quicker ones that are very fun, like Bullet from BlazBlue. But in this case, I thought Thunder was a sick grappler in an MK design like fighting game, where it's all about linking and getting your combos, dishing out as much struggles as you can, and then try to reset like a monster. And I've got to say, Thunder is by far one of the coolest offensive grapplers mixed in with movement. I hope Killer Instinct comes back in some type of way again, because this game was very slept on, and it is a genuine masterpiece fighting game. I think it's up there. It's really up there. Like, everything we praise Strive for, Killer Instinct did it back in 2013. And I love Strive. I think Strive's an amazing game. I just think Killer Instinct deserves the love that it should be getting currently. Back in the day when it launched, it got a ton of love, same up until 2017 and the final patches of the game. But at the end of the day, it's not stuck around afterwards, and I think they either need a new project or make this thing more global, man, because this game was sick. This game was genuinely sick, and it's sad that there's not really a ton of representation. The last TNS I watched, there was 13 players playing it, and you know, it's kind of sad for a massive online. That is the end of today's video, the Grappler deep dive that we absolutely love doing. And I've got to ask you, who do you guys think I should cover next? I was thinking about doing a very unheard of Grappler next, like one I've genuinely never heard of. So I want you guys to throw at me, give me your suggestions that would shock me and all that good stuff. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to support me for my offline trips, be sure to check out the Kofi. It'd be greatly appreciated. You guys don't gotta do it, but I'd greatly appreciate it. Me signing out, as always, adding another Grappler to that church. And I hope you guys have a very nice day. See ya!